There we go. We're live now. A little slow this morning. Need a little cup of coffee to get things going this evening. It's here on 1029. Welcome everybody to the 208. Justin, how you doing?
Just got done with a little bit of little kids wrestling practice. So a little sweaty, but excited to be here.
Right on, right on. Chance taking the night off. Maybe he'll be able to join a little later. We'll see how it plays out. But let's jump into it. Lots of news to talk about. Lots of fantasy football. If you're a little bit behind, we can still get you there. But let's get into it right now. Well, Justin, let's jump right into the news. Lots to talk about. Not a ton, but there's quite a bit to talk about. Here we go.
What's going on?
Right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Trade news, we got Deontay Johnson. I don't know how you feel about this, Matt, going to the Ravens. Correct?
Yeah, 100%. I think it helps the Ravens. I think their vision is like, hey, we've got a running game. We've got to improve our passing game. Our defense is pretty dang good too. Maybe it drops Zay Flowers down a little bit.
Maybe Bateman's gone now. Maybe Bateman's not a guy that you can hold on to.
What you said last time we talked, you're like, dude, I am not buying Bateman. You told me that. So I get that. And I think more than anything, I don't think it really helps your fantasy team any. To be honest, I don't think he's going to be the go-to guy. I just think it adds more weapons for their offense, if that makes sense. They're going to still spread around. Running the ball is still going to be their thing, but it does provide some wide receiver depth. So,
yeah.
Your take?
I don't love it. Like, it just feels like they're just trying to give Lamar a bunch of stuff. It seems like they're going to try and go for a run, which is interesting. Another trade that just happened, I think, while I was at practice was Cam Robinson, the left tackle for the Jaguars, got traded to the Vikings because Christian Darrisaw, who's probably one of the best left tackles, having a really good year, tore his ACL. So they went out and got a tackle because they feel like they can make a run at it. So just an interesting move to see the Jaguars go in a different direction. Like, are they trying to sell pieces off? Are they going to I saw just a Twitter rumor. It's like Travis Etienne to the Cowboys. I don't know. Like, again, I wouldn't love it because I don't think the Cowboys are great, but that's just one other thing that could happen. The other big news was Matt's guy, Anthony Richardson, getting benched.
You, in my mind right now, he's a full cut. You can just cut him from your team. He's not who we thought we were. Look, to me, it has nothing to do with them benching them. It has everything to do about him. He just does not feel like, to me, a guy who's vested in playing football, whether it's there or wanting to learn. It's, I got an injury. I get that. Now I'm tired. You can't, that's not sustainable. It just isn't. It would not surprise me if the Colts go out and get another quarterback this next year, depending on where they're at. It's not a good look at all. The kid, either he can run or he throws 90-yard bombs, but it's almost like he doesn't want to play. It's the craziest thing. It's uber talented, but I'm okay to just scratch him. If you want to sell him in a dynasty or hold on to him in a dynasty, I guess. But for redraft, you can cut him.
Yeah, he was like since 2000, he was like 225th out of 230 completion percentage wise. Like, if you saw his stat without the 90-yard or the 50-yard touchdown, whatever it was, it was bad. And the thing that sucks is the Colts defense is ready to go right now. Their defense has played really well. And it's it can't do anything about it. Jonathan Taylor looked like a freak again, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Some other stuff.
This is where one thing I'd add. This was maybe Flacco's the guy. Maybe Flacco's the guy that turns the page. So go get Flacco if he's not picked up, especially in the Superflex.
Yeah, the AFC South is pretty wide open. I don't think the Colts are good. The Texans have looked on and off. The Titans aren't good. The Jags are the Jags. I think that division is still pretty wide open. One team's got to come out of there. It realistically should be the Texans. But some other stuff. Christian McCaffrey is supposed to be back week 10, which they have a bye week this week, and then they're supposed to come back. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL. Sucks. Nico Collins hopefully is ramping up a little bit. He won't be back this week, but maybe next week. Jordan Love strained his groin. Hopefully he comes back. It'd be really cool to see Jonathan Brooks. Maybe 2 more weeks until we see him in that Panthers offense. Jaguars got killed in the wide receiver department with Christian Kirk breaking his collarbone and then Brian Thomas having chest contusions. I think Brian Thomas should be okay this week. So that's what Matt was talking a little bit about.
Yep.
He should be good. He should be good to go. I think
he should be fine.
I think he's a buy certainly. Debo hurt his ribs. Jordan Mason AC injury. Again, they're on a bye week. DK Metcalf, you're hoping you see him this week. Cooper Kupp and Puka both just played crazy. Like they played quite a bit of snaps. They played over 50% each. So I mean, they should be in your lineup now. I didn't put Puka in my lineup because I was scared. I didn't know if they were going to use him, so he should be in your lineup full time.
Agreed.
T. Higgins should be in week 9. Hawkinson, Marquise Brown probably not till January. Yeah, that's the ones that I got.
Nope, that's fair. I think there's not a ton of news. I mean, there's a fair amount, but nothing crazy. Sorry, I'm seeing. Let's see if there's a message here. Maybe chance to jump on, but for what this week is, and we're going to get right into the waiver wire. There's not a ton of news, but there's a little bit of waiver wire. But this is, I mean, it's probably as bad as we've seen in the waiver wire. And let's just jump to it. I'm going to jump right to the waiver wire and get you like maybe a couple guys. So here we go. Okay, so waiver wire. This is, again, I just said it. The waiver wire this week is close. There's not much there. There's not much going on. You're scouring whatever, and it depends on how deep a league you're in and super flex and all that. There is well, let's start with quarterbacks a little bit, Justin. One of the guys that might be out there, and you just alluded to him a little bit, but with Puka and the team, right? And that's Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford is still a very good quarterback. If you're in a hurting at a quarterback spot in a super flex, or maybe you had AR5, whatever, and you didn't have any bench backup, you can't. Stafford's still good. Go pick him up. You can get him for nothing. In my opinion, go pick him up.
I think a guy that has to be rostered is Bo Nix. Bo Nix has played very, very well.
We told you. We told you at the beginning of the season. We told you.
I am so surprised. Like, it's not so much like his passing, but his rushing has been huge. Like, that's what you want. That's what you need. Like, those high floor guys are huge like that. But he's been super good downfield passing, which I didn't feel like was his forte, at least when it was coming out of college. It just felt like that Oregon offense was very niche in what they were trying to do, get the ball out of his hands. But man, he has played really well. I get he played against Carolina, but he's had 3 top 10 weeks, 284, 3 touchdowns. He always has at least 5 rushing ones. Like, huge.
The defense helps him a lot. So, in addition to those 2 guys, just remember the guys on bye this week: Russell Wilson, Brock Purdy. We do have injuries, right? Derek Carr should be coming back this week. I did pick him up in a league in one of my super flex because I'm curious to see how he goes, and I need some help there.
The Saints are beat up. Just remember, so Chris Olave got killed last week. And
he did.
Shaheed is out. Man, how much longer does the Saints head coach last? That's the question.
We will find out. I don't know. And then don't forget, Jordan Love is still banged up. Aaron Rodgers is a little bit banged up, but he'll probably play. So keeping that in mind for running backs or quarterbacks. Moving on to running backs.
Oh, here we go. Please show your guy, man.
I'm gonna let you start. I'm gonna let you start. I'm gonna let you start because I started with quarterbacks.
Is Garendo a guy? Is he a dude?
Could be.
I mean,
let's talk about Garendo. Let's do it. Let's bring him up. This is a great conversation.
I don't buy the Christian McCaffrey stuff. Like, the Achilles stuff has been really shady. Garendo looked good, and it just feels like Jordan Mason keeps getting hurt, keeps getting beat his shoulder. Like, that is his game. He's a power back. He wants to run behind his pads. He wants to do the dirty work. Like, getting hurt, hitting the shoulder with an AC joint over and over again, like, that's not fun. Like, Garendo looked really good.
Yeah, I like Garendo a lot. A couple things to remember. So the 49ers are on bye. So there's no guarantee Christian McCaffrey comes back. And I agree with you 100%. I'm not sold on it yet. It's very possible. Now, Mason's been binged up, but he gets a week off. But remember, we got Mason for nothing at the beginning of the season.
It's very true.
You can't beat, it's like, well, where's Mason at? He should be playing. You got him for nothing. No draft capital. So Brendo is kind of the same thing. You have to roster him. It's an absolute must to roster him. He looked good. He's very serviceable. We'll have to wait. You're going to kick yourself on a bye week if you didn't pick him up for cheap and not put him on your team. So
17 touches, like 85 yards. Like I didn't think he'd be used that much in the passing game, but man, like 63% snap share, like really, really good. One other guy that I'd like to touch on is Algier, just because he's playing against Dallas, and I think the Atlanta Falcons are just going to run the piss out of the ball. So that's kind of what I think their game plan is with that really bad rush defense.
Yep, agreed. And in addition to Najee and Jalen Warren are on bye this week. Not really so much worried about Warren, but Najee is definitely a starting guy. I don't really have a running back that I want to pick up this week.
Yeah,
I'm like, there's nothing there. Just kind of combing through some of our waiver wire stuff. I'm a Bears guy, but like Roshan Johnson's not a guy. If Braylon Allen's out there, maybe, but I still think Breece Hall is going to be the guy cruising down the stretch. So I don't know. I am interested. For those that are watching, make sure you're hitting that like button, subscribe. We want to help you. Are there guys that you believe we should be picking up? Right? Let's have a chat here a little bit. We got a few people watching, but we want to hear your comments. Let us know.
So some of the guys that are watching right now are some of the Rigby football coaches. So we had a big discussion on, is Derrick Henry good at football or not? Because he runs for 1.6 yards. That was what one of our coaches said a game, and then breaks off a 70-yard touchdown. So just like Coach Matt Burke said, we were just dogging on one of our coaches because he said Derrick Henry was not good. Like, we can't take away the big plays. Like that's obviously what you look for. Like with the Devon Achane, the Jahmyr Gibbs. Like we take away Jahmyr Gibbs' 70-yard touchdown, like his day's irrelevant. So you can't really take away those huge yardages. Like that's what you want. You want big plays from your running backs. And Derrick Henry is leading the league in yards right now.
So it's real world and fantasy football world. There's two completely different worlds. I still think Derrick Henry is fascinating and very, very good football player. In the world of fantasy football, he's elite. That's a no-brainer. That's easy. He is 100%. If you were able to get him, look, there were a lot of people that were down on him. They were like, really? We don't know. Is he going to get the workload? Is he not? Is he just going to get check down passes, which I had talked about? But he has looked phenomenal with a mediocre offensive line.
It's very true. Very true. Offensive line, not good. I think at PFF, when we were doing like the previews, they were like bottom 10 at least. They've lost a lot of dudes. They have two dudes on there. Stanley's a dude. Linderbaum's a dude. But after that, like, their offensive line is not great.
I mean, you're probably looking up stats right now. What do you think his average rush is?
I know what it is. It's 6.3.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, and it's not like he's only had 20 plus carries or more in 3 games.
Yep.
So it's not a volume thing, right? It's efficiency. So, and that makes him a stud. So coach, yes, Derrick Henry is very good. He's very good.
He's pretty good
for being 30 years old. I think there are a lot of teams that would take Derrick Henry right now, and we have made fun of Dallas.
Cowboys would.
Yep, everybody and their dog has made fun of Dallas for not picking him up. So, fair enough.
Yes.
Moving on to wide receivers, we talked a little bit about Tillman last week. Tillman to me is a guy that must be rostered, and he will be after what he showed this last week, and he'll probably be high in the waiver wire piece. To me, this kid is interesting because not that he's elite, but think of wide receivers in the past. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but a player that's like just came out of the like nowhere, and you're like, this kid was okay. He was okay. And I have Tillman on my dynasty league. I liked him when he was coming out of
Like,
school.
not to compare Browns to Browns, but it feels like a Josh Gordon game, like where Josh Gordon had that really crazy year. It's like, what just happened?
Yeah, nobody was super high on him. Like, whoa, where'd this kid come from? Tillman feels kind of like that. Now, he wouldn't be that guy with Watson, right? But with Winston, who is able to push the ball down the field more,
He does not care. He does not care.
He doesn't care. He's going to send it. So he is very serviceable in with the Browns and picking him up on your team. So go get Cedric Tillman. Again, he'll probably be picked up just because he had a week. We told you guys last week that we kind of liked him. We were like, hey, now maybe. So who's your guy, Justin? What are you thinking?
I think again, we'll talk more about this when we get to the Colts game, but Josh Downs and Michael Pittman. I mean, Michael Pittman is a trade for candidate, but Josh Downs is the guy you need to go get. He's going to get the ball a ton. It's the type of guy Joe Flacco likes. It's nine targets, awesome, 4 catches, 109 yards, a touchdown, wide receiver 6 on the week. It's kind of what you want. I mean, you want high targets. I think Joe Flacco's going to sling the ball around. He looked really good last year with Cleveland, so kind of expect the same thing.
Yep, I agree. I do want to bring up the Panthers a little bit because I am curious with the Panthers.
Oh, yeah,
so we lost Deontay Johnson, right? Who was easily the main target getter out of that. But now who becomes the wide receiver that you want? Do you want Leggett? Do you want somebody else?
I was pretty impressed with Leggett because did he score on Patrick Surtain? I'm pretty sure he scored a one-on-one touchdown on him. So, I mean, I think he's the guy. He's the young guy. You want to feed him. He's a freak. I mean, I love his touchdown celebration of riding the horse. So funny to me. But, I mean, he gave Patrick Surtain some fits. So.
Nope. I like Leggett. Here's my worry a little bit with Leggett. And maybe he needs another year. But I kind of think Adam Thielen might end up being the guy again.
Old name.
Which would be awful, right? We don't like it. But that's who Young was comfortable with last year. So I'm like, and Dalton's got thumb injury, so and Bryce played last week. So maybe, but I do like Leggett a lot. But keep that in mind that it could go the other way.
He's played really well. He's gotten 10 targets the last 2 weeks. I mean, done really well. Again, he did it against Patrick Surtain, which is awesome. So,
yep, awesome. Moving on to tight ends. Let's talk a little bit about tight ends. That's when Greg Ott or Kate Otten is like your number.
Tight ends went off this week.
They did, but give me a tight end, Justin. Who do you got to get?
It's Taysom. I mentioned him last week as a trade candidate. He should be coming back this week. He is a no-brainer. I feel like we talked at nauseum about Hunter Henry. He's another guy, but so many tight ends went off last week. Like, if there's a tight end that you can buy low right now on, since he hasn't scored a touchdown this year, is Trey McBride. I think he's a tight end 4 right now with 0 touchdowns.
Which is crazy.
If I could straight up trade Kyle Pitts for Trey McBride, I would.
So a guy that we have talked about a ton on this show, which has been kind of stupid, but is Gesicki.
Oh gosh.
He goes for 8 targets, 7 catches for 73 yards. So all of a sudden he becomes viable again. And I don't know. I'm not buying it. So don't buy Gesicki. Don't.
Those tight ends are hard.
It's one. Yeah.
Cincinnati, they have Eric Hall too, who's decent.
Yeah. I would rather have Taysom Hill. Easy. Even I don't know. Even like Noah Fant, I would take 2 if he's available. So keep in mind. All right. Kyle, we're going to get in the meat and potatoes of our show, though, for sure. And that's just, we're going to review every game from last week. And we're going to talk a little about each player. We're going to talk about the game itself, what we thought, how it impacts your fantasy football team. Now, remember, this is about fantasy football. This is not about real football, which I know there's coaches on here. I'm with you guys. Sometimes you got to be able to split the two. And volume matters in fantasy football. So first game out, Vikings, Rams. Rams come away with that win, even though there was a blatant face mask at the end of that game. They didn't call, but Rams won 30-20. I do want to kind of just briefly touch on Stafford, which came about with it. We already talked about 4 TDs, 1 interception. Puka and Cup played a ton of snaps, both of them getting 8 and 9 targets, leading the way. Kyron got a little bit, but we're not talking about Kyron because he's been a legit guy.
Yeah.
You are always starting Puka and Cup in my eyes. Those guys are 2 dominant players. But again, Stafford is 100% a very, very good quarterback. You have to pick him up. You got to play him if you need help in that position.
He feels like, I don't know, like the best comparison. I've never thought Devontae Adams was like a super good receiver, but like whenever you ask players in the NFL, they always mention Devontae Adams, and like I feel like whenever they ask about quarterbacks, it's Stafford. And like when he got Puka and Cooper back, like there's no reason he shouldn't start in a 12-team league.
Yeah, 100%. Play those guys. I know Blake Corum also got some snaps in there. Keep him stashed on your bench. He, I believe, will be the backup to Kyron if something happens. Moving over to the Vikings, Sam Darnold, to me, he had 2 touchdowns, 18 for 25, 240. I'm just kind of off the train. I think he spiked, and now this is what I worried about. This would have been, if McCarthy were healthy, we would have saw this revolving door because of this. Now they would be calling for McCarthy to start. Right? It's like, now we need to get McCarthy in there. They lost a couple games, and it would have been this revolving door, which would have hurt Justin Jefferson, which you were absolutely playing. You had 8 receptions for $115. Obviously, keep that going. So,
yeah, he's been decent. He definitely has come back down to earth. Not hot start.
Yeah. Moving on, Bears Commanders. Yeah, I know. I got my Bears hat on. I'm trying to be.
Yes.
I'm trying to be faithful, but Bears are doing Bears things.
Oh man,
highly anticipated game though, right? Highly anticipated between the 2 rookie quarterbacks. Everybody was. I'm a little bit surprised it wasn't a primetime game, a little bit, but I get it.
Should have been. They had Swift went off, like played really well, 7.2 yards at average. Caleb, you want more out of that, especially in that type of game. Kind of a playoff game, kind of a playoff atmosphere, 2 good teams. You don't really get what you want. Again, with Caleb not doing well, you're also going to see a production of Rome, Keenan, DJ Moore not be good. Cole Kmet had a terrible game. Like, I don't know. Commanders, man, Jaden Daniels is him. Jaden Daniels is that guy. He is.
He's legit, and I mean, it wasn't just Jaden Daniels. They schemed for him. Terry had 5 receptions for 125 yards. Obviously had the bomb on 61 yarder, but on 8 targets. They used the tight end a lot, which Sanat, put that name in your back pocket. It's coming. He is coming. But Ertz had 11 targets too for 7 catches for 77 yards. So I'm off on the Bears a little bit as much as I'd be. They really should have just dominated this Washington defense, and they did not. They came out flat. Other than from a fantasy standpoint, which we talked about Swift already, but I'm moving more and more off the Bears. Swift is hard to sit because he still has another good matchup after this next week. You probably should trade him in redraft, but it's unfortunate. I love my Bears. They're awesome, but I really thought their defense would be able to bottle up Jaden Daniels, JD5, and that did not happen. And I know they were out 1 safety, but it still shouldn't have been that bad.
He's a tough
lack of discipline. It's 100% lack of discipline on the Bears' part. It just drives me crazy. And you heard the coach. Look, my football coaches in here will agree with this. Coach Mauser, if you're still listening, the Bears coach said in the end of that game, he said, we weren't worried about the play before. That's not a touchdown. They're trying to throw a touchdown. And I about lost it because at the time, it was probably a 65, 70, maybe 80-yard bomb at the point to get there with about 10 seconds left, I think. They throw what we'd always do, even in high school football, 10-yard out, 15-yard out, stop the clock. The Bears didn't even try to mess with it. That play 100% set up the next play. So you can't tell me that play doesn't matter. That's dumb. Now, we all know as coaches that they're going to do that, and we've got to be careful for the deep ball, but don't ever say it didn't matter, because it 100% mattered on the play before, and then you didn't execute the Hail Mary. Not to mention that your corner was out there waving at fans and taunting at fans. And I don't know if you saw the image where the Bears fans are trying to get his attention in the end zone to tell him that the play has started. I give up. Okay. Moving on because I can't deal with the Bears at this point. It's rough. It's rough. Eagles, Bengals. I was a little surprised in this game. Eagles winning 37-17. It was really the Barkley go.
Saquon went well.
It was 22 carries, 109 yards. And it was all Eagles and really nothing from the Bengals. I don't know what to do with the Bengals, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase feels like the guy. Chase Brown got 12. Zach Brown got 5. I don't know. They got to go on a run. Joe Burrow's got to start working some Burrow magic and start going off at this team because they're in big trouble. I hope they fire Sale because I really want Trey Hendrickson to the Falcons. But man, they got to do something because they're going to fall behind very quickly. Devonta Smith and AJ Brown did their thing. Like they're happy with both of those lines.
So this is how bad it is, and I kind of alluded to it already, but Jamar Chase had 11 targets, 9 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase is doing his job. You're starting him all the time. Gesicki, 8 targets, 7 for 73. He's the next guy. Higgins, I'm not sure Higgins played in that game, but Jermaine Burton had a deep ball, but from a running back standpoint, we're getting no production. I did play Chase Brown in one of my leagues. The only thing that saved him was was a touchdown. You're playing Barkley. We had a Devontae Smith sighting, which was super cool, right? He'd been injured and he hadn't been doing much. All of a sudden, he gets 7 targets, 6 for 85 and a touchdown, which is awesome. I will routinely play Devontae Smith in a flex. Easy, yep. You got to put him in.
He should be played. Yep.
Oh, moving on. Oops. Ravens Browns. This was probably the shocker of the weekend.
Cedric Tillman, man, that route, man, he was open on that post. Sheesh.
And I can't remember which corner from Baltimore dropped the interception the play before.
Oh, it was Kyle Hamilton. It was Kyle Hamilton.
It was Hamilton. There you go. Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember who that was, but he dropped it. He dropped the play before.
All pro safety dropped that. Crazy.
I think Baltimore went into that game thinking not a big deal. This is nothing. It was a trap game and they got bit. So maybe it'll be better for them later. But Lamar still doing Lamar things, 289 for 2 touchdowns. You're playing him. Derrick Henry, we already talked about. I mean, only 11 carries, 73 yards. That's 6.6. Very good. And a touchdown. Zay Flowers was 7 for 115. So I think this is a good spot here, Justin. What are we going to do with Zay Flowers? He's been pretty productive. He's been getting a lot of targets. But now we're bringing Devontae Johnson over from the Panthers. What do we do? Are we trying to sell Zay Flowers? Are you trying to hold on to him? Because the last couple of weeks he's been getting a lot of targets.
I think you hold him for now. It seems like he is the focal point of the passing offense, but it feels like Mark Andrews is heating up a little bit. He just keeps scoring touchdowns, and I keep leaving him on my bench, and I just keep yelling why. But this offense is hard because they're just a good offense, and it just feels like the Packers kind of, where it's like which guy's gonna do it besides Derrick Henry and Lamar, which guy's gonna do besides Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs. It's hard receiver wise. I think you hold him. I feel like they kind of play the same role as Zay Flowers and Deontay Johnson. They both have like super low ADOTs usually. It feels like Zay Flowers either runs some kind of little bubble or anything past maybe 5 yards or go. And it feels like Deontay Johnson is kind of that. Maybe he'll work a little bit more intermediate, but they do have 2 good tight ends. I don't really know where he fits. I think they just got him to get him. And they got him for cheap as well, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure who is going to take the hit. I don't know what Zay Flowers. I think Bateman takes a hit a little bit, and maybe Likely, who had 4 targets. I don't know. It's hard to say. So I'm with you. Hold Zay Flowers for now. See what he does. It's just hard. Can you sign him on the high? It depends on who the player you're trying to go to. Maybe you can sign him on the high for somebody as a package deal. But moving to the other side, Chubb, that guy is amazing. I don't know, dude. I think we all thought his career was done after seeing that injury. he carried the ball 16 times for 52 yards, 3.3 average. I get it. Had a long one for 15, no touchdowns, but I'm just like marveled that he's out there playing at that level, which is incredible.
He's a different cat. Like if this can attest to anything, is like his weight training, like whatever it is, like that trainer's doing the right thing, because he's had 2 catastrophic knee injuries, and like I don't know how he does it.
You're probably not playing him in fantasy, but we have to mention it again. We all said he was done. So Jameis Winston, we brought up earlier. I think you do have to go and get him because he absolutely makes this Browns offense better. For a gunslinger, he had 334 for 3 TDs, which is incredible. And so they threw the ball like 41 times, something like that. Yep. Which is nuts. Tillman. We talked about 9 targets, 7 catches, 99 yards. The one, his long was that 38-yarder at the end, which is a touchdown. So it's a 1 play, but still he's going to get targeted. I do like they're slinging it around, and maybe we'll see Tillman have a good game. Maybe Judy have a good game. Maybe even Elijah Moore, who had 12 targets last game, which is crazy. So I don't know.
Guys that were relevant there with Njoku, Judy, Moore, and Tillman. So.
Yeah, they got good wide receivers. Ones that it kind of seems like everybody's leftovers, and they just went and got. But they're good players. So
yeah, bunch of 2s
for 100%. Moving on, Lions dominated the Titans. I don't think there's much to talk about here. That game's gross,
fast.
Maybe the only thing we talked about was Calvin Ridley, who had 10 receptions for 143.
What the heck? What the heck is going on?
That's just a game script. They were down so early. I don't look anything into it. I'm not buying Calvin Ridley on anything. If you have Ridley, that would be the perfect time to sell him. Go sell him. Yeah. It seemed like everybody scored. Yeah, it was everybody scored. You get a touchdown like Oprah hanging out. Yeah, everybody gets a touchdown.
Yeah, Jameer Gibbs, this rush touchdown, dude, just shot out of a cannon. Like he was gone. Like I was like,
so fast.
He is so fast. But yeah, he's a dog. Lions are good. Might be the best team in the NFL.
There's only a couple players that I think you can get now, and we'll get to them. But we were saying, at least I was saying, go get Gibbs because there wasn't much going on. Go get him. He was about as cheap you're going to get, but you can't get him now. You're going to end up overpaying. So
100%.
Cardinals, Dolphins, what a game that was.
Woo! Let's go.
Cardinals knock off Miami 28-27. You guys know that.
You guys to go get Achane and go get Tyreek Hill. Go buy into this offense.
Yep. You still have a little bit of time with Tyreek Hill because he didn't just go off, but it's coming. He's going to explode. You need to go get Tyreek Hill. It is coming with Tua back. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him. It's not a thing. If you didn't go get Achane, you probably should have, who had 6 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. And 10 carries for 97 yards. The kid's just different. And you just roll with the injury stuff. It is what it is. He might get injuries, but the upside's way too high for it to help you win leagues. Mostert, don't really care about. I still like Jalen Wright a little bit better. Keep him on your bench, but it'll be tough. I don't think he's going to do a whole lot or dip into Achane's role at all. So.
I don't think so.
We did have a little bit of a Waddle sighting, 4 for 45. He's another guy I think you can go get relatively cheap. Just see him as a RB or a wide receiver 2-3, probably flex.
Would you trade Garrett Wilson straight up for Jalen Waddle?
It's tough. I probably stay with Garrett Wilson for now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's tough, but man, you kind of get tired. It's like, are the Jets going to figure it out ever? That's kind of where everybody's at. So,
that's true.
Kyler Murray again, 307, 2 TDs, crushed it. Really don't care about James Conner. But he's just serviceable.
He's relevant. He's getting touches, man. Look for volume.
And that's
he didn't have a great average, but 22
volume
touches.
matters. We talked about that. And he had 53 yards for a touchdown, and he had 2 catches for 16. So you're putting him out there to play him, but it's probably not anybody I'm going to go get. After Marvin Harrison's horrible week,
of course,
6 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown on 7 targets. if you're going to pick him up last week, I think there's two schools of thought with him. One, could you have got him cheap last week, or do you try to trade him high this week? I'm still holding on to the kid. I still think he's an elite talent. Him and Murray have missed, just haven't connected yet like we'd like to see, but a lot of overthrown balls.
So the thing with Marvin Harrison is the thing that happened with Drake London. So they just switched weeks. So we'll talk about Drake London a little bit. So they've been bracketing Marvin Harrison a lot in coverages, and it feels like this time they didn't. They said, hey, we're just going to play him straight up, whether that was zone or man, and he went off. That's what happened in Drake this game. He didn't have a bad game, but like he didn't get a bunch of targets because they were bracketing the crap out of him, and Kyle Pitts had a game. So kind of the inverse of this.
Yeah. And you were talking about Trey McBride. You want to lean into him a little bit?
You need to go get it. Like he I don't know if he scored a touchdown this year, but he's still the tight end 4 on the year. He's just good. He's just good at what he does. Like, I don't know if the best comparison is like Jason Witten or like Todd Heap back in the day, but man, he is just a good player. Like, he's going to be super consistent. He's going to be in a high volume offense. He's good. He has 0 touchdowns on the year. 0. And he's the tight end 5 right now.
Isn't that crazy? And it's
That's
coming.
nuts.
They're coming. Touchdowns are coming.
Even if he gets 4, like if he gets 4 the rest of the year, he's guaranteed a top 5 finish. Like, he has been really
Easy.
good. Go get him if the manager's frustrated with the touchdown production.
Yep. Moving on, probably the second surprised game of the week: New England versus the Jets. The Jets are they're in an absolute tailspin after firing their coach and this, that, and Aaron Rodgers. Now Aaron Rodgers gets called on the carpet, and they go lose to the New England Patriots, which I'm pretty sure everybody lost money on that line if they did partake.
They're a bad team.
They're not good.
They are selling their team off, and they just beat the Jets. I don't know who's going to win more games at this rate. I don't know. Out of the Jets and the Patriots, I legit cannot tell you who's going to win more games right now. They are bad. They should not be this bad with this much talent. It's really frustrating.
It is awful to see. Just looking at a player like Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Devontae Adams, you would think, right? You're like, these guys aren't bad. They got to be good, but here they are, 2-6. So let's start with the Jets. What do you do with Aaron Rodgers if he's on your team? What can you do with him other than just cut him?
I'm cutting him. There's no way he's on my roster. Like, I had to start him. Like, Breece has been not great. Garrett Wilson's had 2 good games, counting this one. And Matt was mentioning pre-show, what if Devontae Adams gets traded? Because this ain't it. 2-6 is not it.
No, they're not going to win the play. They're pretty much out of the playoffs, right?
They got to win a lot of games.
They got to win a lot of games to get there. And I mean, Devontae Adams wants to win, and for 2 games now, it's like, now what? But I do want to talk about Breece a little bit. This is interesting to me, just kind of thinking about it. So Breece Hall and Braylon Allen split carries. Breece had 16 carries. Braylon Allen had 12. Breece is way more productive, but Braylon got the touchdown. I still. We got a question from Kyle. Kyle, we're going to come to you. Stay tight. We're going to get to you. But Breece, I still want to buy him, and I think you can get him pretty low. My concern is last year it was the Breece show because that's all there was. Braylon Allen's not bad, and I don't think they want to beat up Breece on a losing season here. And so I think we might see some more splits carries. But I'm still high on Breece. He's still averaging 5, or at least last game it was 5 per carry. But it's making me a little nervous. But I think you can pick him up cheap. Your thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, if I could go get Breece for cheap, I might, especially in a dynasty league. I'm not going to get off of Breece because I think he's that talented in the back. But man, Braylon Allen's, they're split carries at this rate in a bad offense. So if you can get Breece for a lot, like. I don't know what that entails. Maybe Tyreek Hill. I would think about it. But that's my thoughts.
Fair enough. Garrett Wilson, I don't know what to do with this passing league. Devontae Adams to me is off the radar. I'm not, if I have him, probably trading him. I still like Garrett Wilson, who had 5 receptions for 113, no touchdowns in that game, but I do like him a lot. Moving over to New England, I want no business with Jacoby Brissett or Drake May. They're just still trying to figure out that whole quarterback setup. Stevenson's still interesting. 20 carries, and he had only 48 yards, but 2 touchdowns, which I'm like, okay.
He's a flex guy for me. Probably not my starting running back. Maybe an RB2, but probably more of a flex.
The problem for the Jets is not their defense. Their defense is good. It's their offense. Right. We get that. So what I'm getting at is Ramondre Stevenson only had 48 yards. He's a good running back, and he's getting a lot of volume. So keep it there. As far as the wide receivers in that New England group, there's not a lot there. They're run heavy right now. That's just what it's going to be. So the only one that I maybe when we talked about it is Hunter Henry. So
yeah. Sure.
Let's pause here, Justin. I'm going to have you answer Kyle's question. Let's pull up on the screen here. Full PPR, pick one, Dubs or McMillan? Concerned about Love.
Okay, so Love is a lot tougher than I thought he was, especially watching him at Utah State. Like, I think he's gonna play because he just does. Like, he's just a tough kid. I would take Dobbs. McMillan didn't have as big as a role in the offense as I thought he would. It was Raheem Jarrett, I think was his name, that had a ton of targets in this Bucks game. So Jalen McMillan missed a touchdown. He just didn't turn around fast enough, and he was wide open. So I'm probably gonna be more Romeo Dobbs. Again, it was their first offense back against the Falcons with all these guys gone. K. Dotton ate a lot. I think he's gonna be the focal point with Bucky Irving as well. I think those are their two guys. With McMillan rated a little bit. Romeo Dobbs still feels like maybe the one or two in the passing option in a better offense, I think, with the Packers.
Yeah, for me at least this week. Don't get rid of McMillan, but I'm rolling with Dobbs this week. I'm not really concerned about Love. You're right, he's a tough kid. But we do need to see what's more coming out for sure. So Kyle, that's a great question. Thanks for asking, my friend. This is a great segue into the next game. And because it's Falcons and Buccaneers, and I know you were cheering from ear to ear. I'm gonna let you take this one, Justin. As far as what's your thoughts on running this game?
Okay, so Kirk has 8 against the Bucks. Like, he has 8 touchdowns, like 700 yards. Like, I don't know, he just played really well against the Bucks. 23 for 29, 4 touchdowns. Love to see that. Bijan, Algier both kind of split the carries with Bijan getting the receiving touchdown. It feels like he's going to get a lot more work. Okay, so let's talk about Kyle Pitts, because that is the theme of the game. He had 1.5 touchdowns. Let's be clear on that. He did not have 2. That was not a touchdown that he scored. That ball was, if there was a pylon cam, that would not have been a touchdown. The 2 plays that he scored on, okay, so the first one was a broken play. It was 4th down. We were looking at London. He got bracketed. Kyle Pitts got held and got off, was wide open and scored. The second touchdown was a lot more impressive because, I mean, Kirk he roped the ball into zone in between 3 defenders, and we got to see Kyle Pitts run fast, which was super nice. Again, I wish he wouldn't have fumbled the ball. Like, just go score the touchdown, be happy. Again, he looks like he should be a top 8 tight end the rest of the way. Seems like he's starting to get a feel there. Darnell Mooney had a game. Drake London, again, they bracketed the crap out of him with everything that Kirk has liked with him. With the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield is him. He is this is going to sound outlandish, but I think he's a top 5 quarterback in this league. He is really good at football. He has no business throwing for 330 with 2 of his guys gone. Has no business doing it. Bucky Irving is a better running back than Rachaad White. Plain and simple. That guy is a freak. We had him back in the backfield like 3 or 4 times, and he still get positive yards. K. Dotton played really well. Raheem Jarrett is the guy that took Jalen McMillan's role. It feels like he just played a lot. Like, he played a lot more than I thought he would. Jalen McMillan, like I said, missed a touchdown wide open. Sterling Shepard got hurt, which kind of takes away from my waiver wire. He just got hurt pretty early, but those are kind of my takeaways from watching the whole game from beginning to end.
Yeah, don't worry too much about McMillan. He did have 7 targets, which was second in the league. So keep that in mind. The guy that you didn't mention, which he has been a steal, and I don't know why nobody talks about him for Atlanta. Nobody talks about him, and we keep circling about is Mooney. How good is Darnell Mooney?
Good. He
is so good. We bring him up every now and then, but as you listen and read, nobody talks about Mooney in the NFL, and he just has been about as consistent as you can be. And I think when we drafted, like he was like a round 3 guy, and I think I'd have to look and see where he is right now as far as fantasy football. But my goodness,
he's going to be
Mooney is a guy you could get cheap. Well, I shouldn't say cheap, but you can get him.
Like he's been so consistent. He's like our most reliable guy. It feels like he's a wide receiver 12 on the year, which is he's a wide receiver 1 right now, which is kind of nuts. Like
it is crazy.
I did not like fully transparent. I did not love the signing, and I feel like I've said that a couple of times on this show. It just felt like we overpaid, but man, he's been a godsend. Like he's been super good for Kirk. Drake London's the wide receiver 5, like really good. One thing defensively that I want to talk about is Jesse Bates. Is him, Jesse Bates, for Defensive Player of the Year. That's where I'm at. Forced fumble, recover the fumble, and he had an insane pick. He is good at football.
If you don't follow defense in the NFL, he was so good with Cincinnati. So good. And that's, in my opinion, that actually hurt Cincinnati a lot. So that's some of their problems.
He is so good at football.
Green Bay, the Jaguars, again, fantasy relevant. Jordan Love did get hurt in this. He threw an interception, had to leave the game. But they, like I said, they still win the game. Josh Jacobs comes out, 25 carries, a buck 27 with 2 TDs. Jacksonville's defense is absolutely horrible. Everybody runs all over them for sure. But we didn't really throw the ball a ton. Again, Malik Willis took over 4 for 5, 56, but it was just running the ball. So the game script was kind of a little bit crazy. Not a lot of receptions for any. Christian Watson ended up leading with 4 receptions for 39 yards. And it was Tucker Kraft that had the 3 for 78 and a big, long 67-yarder for a touchdown. So not much there. Love Tucker Kraft. We said that earlier on. You should probably go get Tucker Kraft a long time ago. I will tell you, as a Romeo Dobbs, a Reed, a Watson, and a Wicks owner in different areas, that whole thing is rough because you really don't know who. Reed's probably got the highest floor out of the group. You just want, as far as the quarterbacks, you want Love because he's got tons to throw to. So, moving on, Trevor Lawrence. Gosh, maybe they'll fire their coach again. Maybe he's just not the guy. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He did throw for 308. Tank Bigsby has been phenomenal in Etienne's absence. 78 yards on 18 carries, 4.3. Their offense just is not good. How good has Brian Thomas Jr. been as uplifting for them? And we talked about it early on. We liked him. We didn't know where he was going to fit, but man, he certainly is better than Christian Kirk as far as that offense is.
Those goes. Triplets of fantasy relevant rookies. I mean, excluding Rome Odunze, which is sad because I like Rome Odunze coming out. Brian Thomas, Marvin, and Malik have been super awesome to watch. And then Evan Ingram had a nasty touchdown in this game. Just skied over some dudes.
Yeah. Yes. four catches, 36 yards in that touchdown. And we said it last time, man, how good are those LSU receivers? We talked about Ohio State receivers, but I think the LSU receivers,
they got some dogs.
A little bit better. So shout out to Shane Williams-Rhodes. We had that conversation last week for Boise State star wide receiver from a few years ago. Second in receptions, all-time receptions for Boise State, which we're going to give that plug. Yeah. Yep.
Holy crap. I did not think that. That's crazy.
Back in the day. So shout out to him for sure. Moving on to the Colts versus Texans. This game, I do want to talk about this because there's absolutely some fantasy football implications on this one, but it was Colts early on in this one. Houston comes back to win this game by 3, 2023. Anthony Richardson, we talked about already. I'm done with Anthony Richardson. I apologize. I will take a lap on that for sure. I'm going to play this. My bad. I was all in on Anthony Richardson. I'm telling you, it just feels like you want to play football. As a coach, you kind of listen and watch, and you're like, I can't do it. Maybe he'll be better, but I do struggle with watching Anthony Richardson play. He's just running it or throwing it, and it's usually 75-yard bombs. I'm out on Anthony Richardson for sure. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor, you want to?
10 for 32 is a wild stat line.
It is. It's just
52 is crazy to me.
that feels like I give up. I'm just going to say I'm tired. So, Jonathan Taylor, you want to talk about Jonathan Taylor a little bit?
He's him. He's been consistent. Keep riding him. He just needs to stay healthy. Kind of feels like Kyron last year. Like it's like have a really good game, get hurt. Have a really good game, get hurt. Just keep riding him. If he's playing, play him because he's a stud. I think they're gonna rely more on him with Joe Flacco coming in. Again, I love JT in this. I love Josh Downs and Michael Pittman going forward are the three guys in this offense that I'm like.
Yep. Wide receivers in Indianapolis Colts. Now we really struggled. Josh Downs did have 4 for 109 and a touchdown, but now that Anthony Richardson has been benched, Flacco's coming in. What wide receivers do you want?
Those two, Michael Pittman should go crazy now. He should, they should throw the ball 30 times. They should give the ball a ton to Jonathan Taylor. I'm sure they want to keep that number anyway from 25 to 30 passing wise and give JT 20 touches a game. Hopefully the predominant amount of touches wide receiver wise goes to the Josh Downs and Michael Pittman because that's what Joe Flacco does. Those are his guys, I think.
I think you can still get one of those guys for relatively discounted. Just keep that in your mind. Don't overpay for them, but I think you can trade for those guys for sure. Moving on to Houston, Stephon Diggs, done. I believe it was confirmed. Yep. For ACL. So here's the piece that I want to talk about. I still like Tank Dell a lot. I think this increases him. He had 4 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown, and I'm still plugging him in. The guy that you need to go get, he's probably the most valuable outside of Hill, is.
Are you saying Tank Dell?
No, he's out right now.
Oh, Nico, for sure.
Yes, I think you can get Nico. He's still like you can pay for him and pay for asking price because somebody's injured, but with Diggs out, Nico's value goes way. Where's the camera? It goes way up. I think you got to try to get him if you can. I love Dell a lot, but Nico is next to Hill are the two most valuable wide receivers that you can get the most bang for your buck right now. And this will probably be you're in a 2-week window. If you can't get them, you're gonna miss it. Hill may even be 1 week. So
100%. Yeah.
Joe Mixon is still drinking from the fountain of youth. 25 carries, 102 and a touchdown. He has bitten me for so many years, but look at him continue to go. So kudos on him. You're still rolling him out there if you've got him on your team.
How do you feel about CJ Stroud if he's your starting quarterback right now?
I'm okay. I mean, you lose a weapon, but he's still a very good quarterback. I think you still roll him out there and get it done.
He's only had 2 top 10 weeks. Like he's got to pick it up. We were telling you guys before the season, like do not drink the Kool-Aid, do not draft him that high. He should not be going that high. So there's your welcome.
Fair. From the New Orleans Saints, starting off like super hot, just killing it. Have done nothing but lose. After his 2-0 start, they're now 2-6. They lost to the Chargers, who are now 4-3, and which we beat up on the Chargers quite a bit. But the Saints are in an absolute disarray. What do Alvin Kamara, I think, is still RB2 or 3 with the hot start. It's somewhere in there. I think you should go get Alvin Kamara really cheap because I think bringing Derek Carr back next week will help a lot. So Spencer Rattler, who's filled in nicely, he just needs more time. I do like him a lot. It's just the game's a little fast for him right now from what I see. But Alvin Kamara, go get him. I think also, Chris Olave, 8 catches for 107. He's another guy that I would probably try to go get. With Hugh, your thoughts on that?
I don't like this offense, but I hate
it's hard.
I don't know what they're
going to do.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this offense. Like Chris Olave he was good this game. Alvin's been super consistent, especially on the PPR side where he's catching a ton of balls.
Yeah.
They scare the crap out of me. So
the only 2 guys is Kamara and Olave just because they get so many targets. That's all they got really. So moving over to the Chargers, Herbert had a little bit of a coming out, 2 touchdowns for 279. I still don't like any of the running backs. I'm not a Dobbins guy. I don't really like J.K. Dobbins. He did have a rushing touchdown. Lad McConkey came out, 6 catches, 111, did have that 60-yarder, 2 touchdowns. I'm still off on this defense or offense a little bit. There's still nobody that I really want. You?
Yeah, they just feel kind of wonky. Like, it just feels like they're going to have spike games, and it's going to be a lot of valleys and mountains. So not a ton of consistency. It's nice to see Herbert do well. Again, like, just ebbs and flows with it. It was cool to see Lad go off. I think JK is an easy flex guy, like, for running backs. I would start him in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, I would be looking to move him if I could, depending on how or what I could get for him. I'm looking to move and try to upgrade from him. Moving over to Seattle and the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to start with Seattle. A little bit disappointed by the Seahawks. The Bills defense just like lights out against them. I mean, we know that line's bad in Seattle, but they've done pretty well. Geno definitely had a down game, and he was pressured a lot. I mean, even some silly things where he just, tripped. If you watch the game, you know what I mean. He had 212 yards. He did have an interception. Walker and Charbonnet, nothing. 12 and 4 yards. Charbonnet did have the one rushing touchdown, short yardage. But, JSN, I really, really thought he would take a bigger step with Metcalf out. But he had 7 targets, 6 catches, 96 yards. I was hoping for a little bit more than that, plus a score. But, man, I'm kind of off of the Seahawks now.
I love Kenneth Walker. He just had a weird game. It just feels like if they're out of the game, they're like, all right, you're done. Like, we're not going to get you hurt. Because I think Kenneth Walker's a dude. He's very good.
He's absolute dude, for sure. And maybe, you can get him for pretty cheap. People, or if they get frustrated by him, right? Well, you can go get him for cheap. But
he's been super good. So the Bills, man, Josh Allen, my guy. He's so good at football. MVP right now. He should be the MVP. James Cook, holy crap, just running hard. There's that run where they're right at the goal line. He just murdered a dude. His helmet went flying. I was so confused. I thought it was the ball at first. I was like, oh, that's a helmet. Just murdered a dude. Khalil Shakir, Boise State guy. So awesome to see him have success. And it feels like Josh Allen is starting to trust Keon Coleman a little bit, throwing at the ball in some kind of scary spots. But it seems like Khalil Shakir is his safety blanket.
Yeah, for sure. I do also like Ray Davis in deeper leagues. Keep an eye on Ray Davis. He had 6 carries for 29 yards, 4 yards a carry, which is awesome. But keep in mind, you didn't bring up Dalton Kincaid. I actually sat Dalton Kincaid this last week in favor of Otten.
Oh, nice.
I just felt like you know what, Otten probably get some takes here, but I do like Dalton Kincaid a lot. I think just the dust needs to settle in that offense because I don't know if they know what he is. I mean, they know he's a catching tight end, but Dawson Knox had 2 catches for 50 yards, and Kincaid had 4 for 31. So either he's trying to find his place and getting that offense put together, or defenses are really making sure they take him away, which is opening up players like Shakir and Coleman. But Kincaid's too good. I promise you. Just hold on to him. Better times ahead.
He's gonna have a game in about 1 or 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure though, where it's like, okay, there's Dalton Kincaid.
Agreed. Chance's favorite team. No problem with the Panthers. No problem with the Panthers this week. With the Broncos, 28-14. And Panthers are bad. There's really nothing there. Other than Bryce Young, decent, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions, 3 for 224, but really not serviceable. I mean, Hubbard didn't do much, and there's no, we talked about earlier, who's going to be the guy in the receiving world. So maybe he'll get you pickup. Maybe Thielen when he comes back, but it's hard to say. I still like Mingo. I thought he would be better than what he was a couple years ago. He just hasn't done anything.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything. Crazy that Miles Sanders had the most catches, but I think Legette is the guy in this offense that's catching the ball wise.
I think so.
Sorry.
I think so too. It's okay. Got to help her. Got to help her. Moving on to Bo Nix. We already talked about 3 TDs in this game. Just a great game manager. Really relies on that defense. Doesn't have to press too much, which is super cool. Williams, you know what? We weren't sure what Williams is, and he's been doing good. 17 carries. I mean, he only had 44 yards, but at least he's getting work.
Yep.
So yeah, you take the volume for sure. Receiving wise, it's hard to trust any of those guys. Although Sutton did come through with a 100-yard game or 100-yard game, no TDs. That TD went to Troutman and McLaughlin, but
Sutton's had a few 0 games, so again, kind of really weird ebbs and flows. He should be getting the ball a ton. He's a guy that I thought could get traded later on, but Denver looks like a contending team a little bit, where they want to keep him. So.
Kansas City still remain undefeated, 27-20 over the Raiders. The game was way too close than what it should have been. Mahomes, 262, 2 TDs, 1 interception. Kareem Hunt still had, all the carries, which has kind of been that way with 1 TD. I do want to talk a little bit about the running back situation for Kansas City because Pacheco is not too far away from coming back. So what do we do with that backfield for now? Obviously, you're going to ride Hunt, but
yeah, I think it's a Jordan Mason situation, which you alluded to. Just ride him. You got him for free, probably. I think when Pacheco does come back, they're gonna give him the ball. I think this might make them wait a little longer to bring him back. They maybe sit on that 21-day window when they do activate him before he plays. But I think you just ride Kareem Hunt out. Don't trade him. Got him for free. Use that house money. Keep riding him out.
Yep. And if you can pick up Pacheco, somebody just needs a win and needs some players, and you got the capital, I think you do it. I want to talk a little bit about Patrick Mahomes. I think a lot of people have been frustrated by Patrick Mahomes for what you used in draft capital to get him, and I get it. But I think if you can get him on cheap, go get him. He's probably a league winner for you down the road. And the reason why I say that is because I'm really liking what I see out of Xavier Worthy, who I was not a fan of early on. But they're getting him involved with Rice out and whatnot. I think DeAndre Hopkins helps out more than what people think, including myself. I wasn't necessarily big on DeAndre Hopkins, but it's depth. And Kelsey, 12 targets, 10 receptions, 90 yards. That's the old Kelsey that we were accustomed to that we haven't seen much earlier in the season. So certainly okay with going and getting Patrick Mahomes if you can, and I'm going to try to get Xavier Worthy too if I can at the right price. And I can't believe I said that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
As far as the Raiders, not much there. Probably the only guy you really want is Brock Bowers. Who's just been an absolute phenom as a rookie year. 5 catches, 58 yards, no touchdowns. But I'm not even a fan of Jacoby Myers in that offense. Alexander Matterson's getting all the running back work, but love the guy to death, but he only 14 carries for 15 yards, and that's all I need to say.
Not a good average.
Moving on to our
Sunday night game.
Our certain Sunday night game, Cowboys 49ers. Justin, you want to hit this one a little bit?
CeeDee Lamb is that guy. Woo! Let's go. Heck yeah. CeeDee Lamb won me my Dynasty League game because he decided to go off for like 35 points. He's still him. Still count on Dak Prescott. I still think in the way that Matt thinks about Patrick Mahomes, I think that about Dak. They're going to have to throw the ball a ton. They can't run the ball for crap. So he's going to be fun for my Falcons to play next week. Ferguson had a decent game. That's probably about it. I think I'll be honest. The only 2 guys that I really like in this offense are Dak and CD. That's who I'm buying into.
Now, we talked a little bit about this. Do you think there's potential for the Cowboys to go get a running back for trade deadline?
I think ETN would be fun. Khalil Herbert is a guy that I've seen a ton that he needs to get traded. There's no way he's a 32nd worst running back in the league. There's just no way. I don't think they are. I think Jerry Jones is kind of out. That's how it feels.
Fair enough. Cap for Life got a question here. We're going to get to you right in a second here, Cap. Let's finish out this game real fast. But yeah, I agree with you. CeeDee Lamb is him. I think both those touchdowns were in the second half. If I'm not mistaken, I think he had both. I think he had both in the fourth quarter. But as far as San Francisco, Garendo, we talked about him. He needs to be rostered. Ricky Parasol sighting. 4 catches for 38, and he had that big big run for 39 yards. Almost scored. But we do like Ricky here, Parasol. If you can get him, he's probably a year away yet, but we do like him a lot. Purdy, we know what he is. Kittle's still doing Kittle things. Love that guy. 6 for 28. Debo's a guy we have to keep an eye on. Man, I want to trade Debo really bad. I want to trade him away because he's just injury. He's always banged up. But 4 for 71, 7 on 7 targets. But I do like Ricky Parasol a lot. Go get him, which I just stated. So I am also a fan of Ronnie Bell. I still think Ronnie Bell will be a guy on that team. You just got to give him a little bit of time. So moving on to our very last game, which was a Monday night game, Steelers versus Giants. Again, probably a little closer than I thought in the first half. But go ahead, Justin.
So I had my guillotine league came down to 0.2 points on this game because Malik Neighbors caught like a 15-yard catch at the very end, and I was like, it was between the number 1 and the number 3 team. That was the crazy part. So the number 3 team ended up getting guillotined out of the league, which was crazy. Tyrone Tracy is a guy. I think he takes that backfield. I think that's done. Malik Neighbors,
Steelers rushing defense is good.
They're a good defense.
They're a very good defense. And yes, and he was 20 for 145, 7.3 yards a carry, and a touchdown. I have him on a lot of teams. You got a couple of options to trade him or keep him, but if hopefully you have him in Dynasty, you're looking really good.
I think you keep him. Malik Neighbors is still that guy. Darius Slayton had a game. I think Wendell Robertson is still a guy you roster because he just gets a ton of targets. I don't like Daniel Jones, but Tyrone Tracy, probably the theme of this game.
Agreed. Pittsburgh, Najee, again, 19 carries for 114. Got to see a little bit of Warren, who looked pretty good, 9 for 46. Russell Wilson doing Russell Wilson things. I'm still a huge George Pickens fan. The more I watch that guy, he does George Pickens things. I get that. But man, 4 for 74 on 5 targets. He missed out on a touchdown by stupid, like a double toe tap type thing. They said no. But I like him a lot.
He would have been a fun receiver since he get traded to like the Bills or the Chiefs.
Yeah,
there's
no way.
I don't think
Steelers
he gets traded. But man, he would be so fun in those offenses, or like Washington. Like see him work with Jaden Daniels. Like I don't think he'll ever get traded, but I don't know. He'd be fun to see.
Not unless he gets disgruntled.
Yeah.
But I agree. That kid is a special kid, wide receiver wise. So
he's very good.
Cap, let's get to your question. Here's a gentleman offering the 3 and 5 owner Dell and McMillan and Dak for Nico or Olave. She has no QB at AR5 in giving 3 for 1. Woo! Justin?
I think the question is who is your quarterback? But man, if you're, I don't think you do it for Olave. I don't think he's the guy that you do this 3 for 1 for. I think it's Nico. I think it's Nico or Hill. I think those are the two. I think those are the 2 wide receivers you target. I don't think Olave finishes as a top 15, top 20 guy. But Nico, I'm okay with, depending on who your quarterback is. You're sacrificing some depth. I don't think McMillan is a dude. Maybe people are super high on Dell since Stephon Diggs got hurt. I'm not. He just hasn't shown it.
Oh, lost Justin. We'll get him back. So I think Cap, I am not offering. Nico's the one I'm going after, but I'm not offering 3 for 1. Here he is coming back. There you are.
Sorry. Darnold. I'd probably keep Dak. I would probably put Darnold in there, maybe see if that works. But I would try to keep. I think Dak has a higher upside than Darnold does.
Yeah, what I was saying to just while you were off there is like, I'm not trading a 3 for 1 for Nico right out of the gate. I don't want Olave if I can help it between the two. I would rather if you have Darnold and you're really thinking Nico's the guy, man, I would almost try to trade Darnold for the 3 for 1 before Dak. Right, for Nico. So take Olave off of it. and play with it a little bit, Cap, because I'm thinking you can't do Dell and McMillan for Nico. Nobody's going to do that. If you did Dak and Dell, you might get some takers on that. If you did Darnold and Dell, you might be, that's a maybe, right? Darnold's been down a little bit. We were kind of like, kind of buying off, but don't do the 3-for-1. See what you could. I would offer the Darnold and Dell first, and then you could always throw in McMillan later.
Like if they're like, oh, I don't know, like, hey, I'll just throw in McMillan. Like maybe that'll help it get over the top.
Yeah. Yep. Don't sell it for him, but I do like it. That's solid. If you're still watching, want to know your record. How's everybody doing out there? Are you leading it? Are you a little bit behind? What can we help you with? Man, a lot of fun. Love fantasy football. I will tell you, Justin, I've got 2 leagues where I'm winning. I've got 1 league where I think I'm 1-7. And I have been taking everybody's best. It's the top of it's one of those leagues, right? You're getting beat up, and every week it's like, oh, this was the league top scorer. This is the league top scorer. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Every league I'm above 500 except for the league that I got that Chance just put me in. I just got drawn in to take over a team, and it has like AR5 on it, and I'm just like, it has like George Pickens. I have no running backs. I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna suck this year because it's a redraft league. I'm not a redraft league, a keeper league. But every other league, I'm doing good. In one league, in my 32-man league, I am 7-1. I don't know how.
Nice.
But I was like, my friend's like, just do this 32-man league, which I thought was absurd. So I was like, whatever, we'll do it and see how it goes. But like, I don't know how I'm 7-1 in that league, which is super funny to me.
That's great. There we go. Cap, I'm 5-3 in one league and 3-5 in another. Hey, you're in contention. You just got to make the playoffs. I've always said it's harder to win the regular season than it's harder to win the playoffs because you just got to get hot in the playoffs. That's all that matters. Get to the playoffs. That should always be your first goal. Try to win each game, and then try to get to the playoffs. If you're in a spot where you need to try to like, man, I got to make a move and I might not get to the playoffs, sometimes you have to sell a big name to get a couple of guys that'll get you points, right? It's like, I just need to get to the playoffs. I mean, if you can't do the playoffs, then you certainly can't win. So, and you always want the bragging rights. Any questions out there that people are just struggling with? Like, man, what do I do with this team? Is there a player, Justin, that you like, man, I don't know what to do with this guy?
Probably Garrett Wilson. He's just an enigma. I don't love it. I don't love the quarterback he's attached to. I don't like that he's the number 2. I don't like that Breece and Braylon seem to be getting a ton of touches. I don't ever start him. He's just tough. I would love to trade him, but I want to get value for him, which I don't think I'll get the value I want, which is tough, especially in dynasty leagues.
I was just combing through some of my teams here. One of the players I was able to pick up a couple of players, or I was able to pick up this player in a couple of leagues was Jameson Williams. People cut him off of a 2-game suspension. If he is out in your league, go get him. Coach already came out and said it's an honest mistake. He's owning it. We're going to utilize him. So go get him. I don't know if he'll be a league winner, but he can certainly help. So I've got him, and I picked him up in a couple of my leagues. I like him a lot. So Cap's got another question here. Let's find out. Let's answer this real fast. I got Jacobs, A-Chain, Dobbins, McBride,
Guessing that's
Smith, Dell. Any suggestions?
Running backs are good. Tight ends good. Yeah, wide receivers. I mean, if you could get Nico, that would be, or Tyreek Hill. That's a nasty team.
I'm assuming Smith is.
I think it's Devonta Smith.
I don't know if those must be your start. If you could move Devontae Smith and Dell for an upgrade, right? Or if you could do like a Jacobs and a Smith or a Jacobs and a Dell to upgrade your running back. I mean, and this is all, I don't know what you got on the bench, but I'm thinking like, okay, where can I upgrade? That's what I would do. I'm keeping H-N though. I'm definitely keeping H-N.
Yeah, Jacobs has been good. JK is a good running back 3, flex start. Bride's good. Devonta Smith's been good, but it seems like you have wide receiver 2s. playing wide
Yep.
receiver 1, which
Or-
is tough.
or flex. It is. Man, you know what? I would try to sell Dell and Smith for Hill.
Yep.
See if you can go get a frustrated Tyreek owner.
If
And
the
get-
Hill owner has Mooney, or the Nico Collins owner has Mooney, maybe just package those two for those two. See, I don't know, but I don't know
for
if
sure.
you get that much. Maybe you throw that quarterback. Just something to think about.
You just got to send out trades too, Cap, because everybody wants to send out one trade, and nobody bites on one trade. You got to send out like 7, 8, 9, 10 trades to try to get it. And sometimes you don't even see the trade until you start putting the trade in. Does that make sense? So Nico owner has JJ. Yeah, they may be willing to deal Nico, depending on their record. I like it. I try to go get Nico. I like it. Because if when he comes back and goes off, you ain't gonna get him.
Send out 8 trades. Nice way to be active.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
See if you got any bites.
It's like fishing. You got to keep casting the line out there until you get one that bites, one who's interested. So great, man. Well, Justin, we've been at an hour and 16 minutes. It's been a lot of fun tonight. We're going to try to go live again tomorrow on some start sits. Hopefully, we can get a chance. And my football season's over. It was had a lot of fun coaching this year. You wrestling season's starting up for you. So we'll try to time this right. So
yeah, we still got football for a couple more weeks. We got a bye this week, and then play a winner out of a playing game. So hopefully we can play for a few more weeks. That'd be great.
Fun. And again, we appreciate you guys for coming and hanging with us. We want you guys to win. We love answering your guys' questions. We learn as much from you guys as you do from us. Man, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time. Justin, any final words?
I got nothing. I hope the Falcons destroy the Cowboys, but we'll see. Knowing us, we'll probably drop that game. Sheesh.
Yep, totally agree. I hope my Bears don't do Bears things. All right, everybody. Peace out. We'll see you guys next time.